Hello everyone, back again, and today, let's see, what's going to be the topic. I've got 3 or 4 different options here that I've been debating on, doing videos on. Let's see, I've been wanting to cover anything to do with so-called YouTube reporters and stuff like that, like people that make updates and videos and like they act like they're in the news and that kind of thing. You know, not actual news things, that's a whole other thing. Many topics on covering that, but I mean people that cover topics and that kind of thing. That's going to be a video for sure if I don't do that one here. Let's see, the other ones kind of are escaping my mind right now. So just in general, I can branch this out in a lot of different things. So while I'm in the car here, I'm going to try to get some content out about, I guess it's going to be just in general, like the people who talk about video games and sports and different things like that, like they're real and that kind of thing, and so on and so forth, and they don't understand anything about numerology, they don't understand anything about how things actually work and how things are pre-planned and scripted and all the different things that they're basically all falling for and whatnot, with not understanding that, these kind of things that determine everything, how to figure things out easily. It's pretty obvious. So in general, there's so many of them because usually I don't have a whole lot of time, so I run into some of these, and for the most part it's hard to find a few good ones and whatnot, and then even they have their time and whatnot where they're going to be screwy and whatnot. That's just always how it's been. They've always done that. So from there, just in general, they act like everything that supposedly happens is real and whatnot, when things can be clearly faked and that kind of thing. Which, like, tomorrow is March 22nd, which is Yale's Skull and Bones Secret Society date, the Order of 322. That's numerology there. For March is 3, and then 22 is the 22nd day of the month. And from there, usually there's events whether they claim there's an event that involves casualties, fatalities of generally like one person, a lone, person that fires and that kind of deal. You can't really say a lot of words on YouTube and whatnot, but if you catch my drift, it has to do with hunting and target practice and that kind of thing. And a lot of people go away, we'll say, or whatever you want to say, no longer exist, are living, trying to work my way around here. So those are very possible outcomes, that kind of thing. There was the 2016 Belgium thing. I remember that. That was a big thing, news-wise back then. Obviously, I didn't know this stuff back in 2016. 2017, I didn't know as deeply either, but apparently there was, I think there was something with a bridge or something that happened, and I know last year I was telling people, I was like, okay, just watch out for this date, because something will happen on this date, I guarantee it. And there was an event, I believe it was in Colorado, if you want to look that up. It's March 22nd of 2021, I believe was the exact date, just like I called, because that's how the numerology works and whatnot. So, expect to see people fall for that too if it comes out, especially on a numerical date when things happen all the time and whatnot. But as for like certain news and stuff like that. This kind of goes into like the hacking thing. It goes into like society in a whole, like the mindset of society, the laziness, the amount of I'm trying to think of the proper words. Basically, the entitlement, where people want things and they think they deserve this and that, and they think that because they say something, it's going to happen, and then people copy it, and then they do it, and it's just it's a long range of things. You know, it's very simple. If one stupid person is telling a lot of people stuff, and then they are regurgitating, it just makes a very dumb mindset of people. People don't use their brains to think about things properly before they say them. That type of thing. They just kind of go and they hear something and they repeat it and they believe it to be true. That's how it goes. As for like people, they want certain things. Like, I kind of can't stand those things. Like, if I'm looking forward to a game, which is pretty rare, if I'm looking forward to a game that comes out, maybe a couple of them come out a year that I might get around to playing, and that kind of thing. Usually remakes or just something, fun for me every now and then. They'll say, well, we need this, or this is gonna happen, or this was, rumored to happen, and this and that, and people get all excited, and then they get everyone else excited, and if it doesn't happen, then they have a fit, or so on and so forth. Or they wait and the game comes out and then they go, oh, I don't like this game because it's missing one thing. Or they want things that aren't even really even possible, aren't even fathomable is what I'm trying to say. Like, if you look back on a lot of games and stuff like that, over the last, decade or so, they've made games so much more advanced in that kind of deal. And, that isn't a topic necessarily about the whole virtual reality and all that crap, but that's going to get a video too eventually, as soon as I can put some ideas well together into that in general, because it's kind of just me throwing ideas out and that kind of thing, but I know what that's all about, and I've seen the programming in movies, and I've seen what it's all going to lead to with money and whatnot, with the cashless world and whatnot, which is terrible. And that's the thing people don't understand. Like, I understand a lot of people use their bank cards and whatnot, but that's because they were taught to do that. And that's, it's not really even easier. It's more of an excuse to not know how much money you have and whatnot. It's a good excuse to spend money instead of saving money, because if you actually have cash in your wallet or whatever, then you know how much you have at that time, what you can spend, what you can't spend. Whereas if you have cards and stuff like that, you can go into different things. And I wasn't even getting into the whole debt and loans and credit and, all that kind of stuff. I wasn't even necessarily meaning that. That's not what I was meaning at all. Because I'm not real experienced with that, but I'm sure it has some relevance to the conversation as well. But yeah, we know that's all gonna happen and whatnot. At least that's the plan as technology keeps going. So I see things like people are wanting, like, I remember a lot of games would want like character customization. Like, they would want to be able to make their character look like them, or make them look like something. If it was just like a game, it didn't really have to do with the aesthetics of how the person looked or whatever. Maybe it's like an adventure game or something like that. You kind of have your character, you know what it looks like, and that's pretty much it. And you don't really change how it looks or whatnot, which didn't really bother me. It was one of those things I never even considered, I guess you could say. I never considered, like, oh, I need to be able to look like this or look like that. It's like a lot of games used to give you options of how you wanted to look and so on and so forth. Just a basic generic model and whatnot, which was fine. So that was one thing I remember. And it's like, people don't want to work extra on anything. So that's another thing, which is kind of like here and there, because I understand you know, there's some good and bad sides of a lot of different things. So it's like the longer a game takes, the more time you're wasting on it and that type of deal. But I mean, I don't really look at things like that, because you're gonna spend the amount of time you're gonna spend on the game, whether you beat it multiple times, whatever. You know, that's more of a rant for another time. This is just more of like just talking about things. It's not, when I want to rant on something that's really irritating me, and you know, it's just things are building up, so I'm talking about them. You know, I'm seeing things happen, and I've noticed for a long time with games and with different events that happen and whatnot, people think that everything they're hearing is real and rumors, and then they repeat, and then someone makes a video or whatever, or is talking about something else like it's real, and then influences someone else to do the same. It's like a long chain of nonsense. But that's really everything. That's the whole mindset. That's all on purpose and whatnot. So I'm trying to think of some other things that they wanted for other games. I would say just to make the game either easier or harder. You know, that's all relative too. It depends on what you have, how good you are, how much time you spend, that kind of deal. How willing you are to learn these type of things. It depends on what kind of game you're playing. Like, there's a lot of different factors and whatnot. To me, most games I play are fairly simple. I know what I'm doing, and I've done them for so long. I've done the same type of things for 20 years or whatever, and it's pretty obvious what to do, and you know, like, easy ways to get through things. You know how to make things harder for yourself if you want to. There's, you know, different options and whatnot. Yeah, so content in general, I would say, is a big one. A lot of people, they seem to ask for things that for some reason they think are gonna happen, and I always pretty much am accurate on telling them. Like, if it's a remake of a game and it has like a third game that's an upgraded version, they want things that are on the upgraded version that are on the remake of the originals. So it's like, you can't expect that. It's like people, they demand so much, and then they can't, not only do they hurt themselves and others' play style and whatnot, their mindset going into the game, but they also, I lost my train of thought because I thought of something else here. Not only are they doing that, but also what they're doing is, excuse me while I think about it because I can't remember. They don't get that surprise factor. You know, there's also the point of ruining too much before you play a game, or I shouldn't say ruining, spoiling, whatever you want to call it. It's something I don't necessarily try to get into too much. If I am excited for a game or something, there's a chance that I might come across something, but I try not to look for it too hard. And there's like people that update all the time and say breaking news, this and that. And it's really embarrassing. Like, these people need to do something better with their time, but that's another situation for another segment. Otherwise, let's see, besides just like the games and stuff, the content in general. So they want things like, they're given so much stuff throughout time and whatnot, and they keep wanting more. So they can't, there's a time when you've gotten everything you can get into a game, and then people can ask for more, and it's going to get to the point where they can't enjoy things anymore because they've already gotten it, or they've already seen whatever there was available. Like when half of the characters on the game aren't there, but there's a lot of characters and whatnot. Maybe they're separating them out for 2 or 3 other games afterwards over the next few years. Maybe they don't want to shove hundreds of characters in a game when they can save them and use them on another game. Because if you have a bunch of characters, you can't really use them all to their potential. Because I write you know, I write things and that kind of thing. I cast stories and that kind of thing, you know, with I make characters and I take real events and that kind of thing. There's a lot of deep stuff with that, but that's just an example that you know, when you put hundreds of people, hundreds of characters, and then you have to put something for each of them, and then not only do you want one thing, you want interactions with each other, and you want different things. So it's like people, they ask too much from certain things, and then when they don't get it, they get upset or they expect it, and that kind of deal. So beyond that, another thing that I really never understood was graphics. Like, I can't believe how these games look as it is. I've said back in the early 2000s or so that the graphics had came so far, like so far advanced 20 years ago, we'll say, on some of these games. They look so just, I don't know what you'd call it. It just looks so different from the older ones. They're just better quality and whatnot. It's not just a, you know, a model of a stick character or whatnot. It's heavily detailed in the colors and the shapes and the sizes and the movements and the angles and stuff that you move at. You know, there's a lot that goes into that kind of stuff. I've done computer work on that kind of deal with, I don't know what the class was called. It was a computer class, and we would do stuff like that. And there's like the X, Y axis and all that. And they could only move a certain way and whatnot. And it was very intricate. But yeah, I never understood. Like, I never even really cared too much about the graphics and whatnot. I mean, the graphics are cool if they look cool. You know, if they have events and stuff like that, they have explosions and stuff like that. They always have that kind of stuff in movies and different things like that. It's not really something that really interests me. I'd rather have like characters and storylines and that kind of thing instead of looks and this and that. Because another thing is, a lot of times, like when I'm watching a movie or watching TV, I'm just listening to it anyways. I'm not watching it, you know, I'm doing other things with my time. Or I might have something on in the background or whatever, and then if I hear something, I might rewind it if I miss something, or that kind of thing. And so graphics never really got that interesting to me, but like I said, 20 years ago, I thought graphics had hit such a high that I thought they were good. I thought they looked pretty good back 20 years ago, and now it's just beyond. It's, you know, that's the point. Um, you know, the whole point of the game stuff and all that has to do with the virtual reality and the, you know, the we want more and the, you know, the laziness and the time spent and the, you know, indoctrination of all the stuff with the cashless stuff, the technology in general with robots, and you know, once you have robots, then you have jobs taken and that kind of thing. And it's not like a political thing. It's a form of just what's happening and whatnot. You go to some stores and they barely have any cash registers anymore. They have all self checkouts and whatnot. But then you still need a person to help with the self checkout, first of all, which is a good, you know, that's a good thing people are doing that there's a job available there. But eventually, once the robots and all that are introduced to us that are real well trained and whatnot, you never know what could happen. Because, I mean, if you look at the way things are nowadays, it's like people follow anything they hear. I don't care if it's from your governor or anything like that. Your governor is nobody. Like, I don't care about any of that crap. First of all, they're not voted and all that crap. You know, that's neither here nor there at the moment, but there's just so much with that kind of stuff that people should just calm down and enjoy things instead of worrying about, oh, checking on this new stuff and wanting this and that. I think games have came so far, and you know, when I play games and that kind of thing, I just can't believe how nice things look back from 20 years ago, and now it's so beyond incredible that it's more than we ever could have needed and whatnot, and people want more and want more, and I don't know. I don't get it. It's not my mindset, and I can enjoy games and different things a lot easier without that kind of mindset and worrying about that kind of thing. So that was just kind of an idea of just a basic talking point about some gaming type stuff and just how the brain works and that kind of thing and so on. So hope you guys enjoyed. I appreciate you guys for checking out the video. I'm trying to make content, but YouTube is terrible to me. You can't do anything on there. They shut you down. 3 months, you have a strike. You get another strike, you can't upload for 2 weeks, which they can hit you with at any time. And then if they hit you with 2 strikes at once, which they've done before, they haven't done that to me, but they've done that to other channels. What's the word you want to say? Unnecessarily, and that kind of thing. Because if there was actually something that really needed to be stricken, it's probably in your promotion section, whatever, on YouTube. You got naked people and music videos and, their occultic symbols and all that with their one-eye symbolism and all that garbage. But yeah, you can find straight up nudity and that kind of thing on YouTube, but you can't talk about in general. Like, you can't have a difference of opinion. You can't say this or that, or someone's offended or this or that, and they had to take the comment section. It's like, this is seeping into a lot of different categories and whatnot. But yeah, live streaming, you can't live stream if you have a strike, I believe. So I can't live stream, and then even then, the algorithm picks that up. What's funny is people can talk around an algorithm. An algorithm's just a robot, like I was saying. It's like, we're gonna be smarter than a robot. So if you shouldn't have jobs being taken from robots. It's not on a person's fault anymore. It's above your head. It's bosses and that kind of stuff. Even if your local bosses or regional bosses or whatever are fine with it, or against it or something, which I'm sure they wouldn't be, because most of them don't have much in their head going on if they're getting to that point. But they get to the point where they follow the governor rules and stuff like that, which really have nothing. Like, if nobody went along with anything, we wouldn't have this situation. So that's pretty much the mindset to have. Just don't be so picky about things, and just enjoy things as much as you can. Uh, yeah. So thank you guys for checking out the video. I'm trying my best to make content here, and hopefully I'll make some more soon. You guys have a good rest of the day.